Geekazine.com and Geek Smack is brought to you by Mosey. Back up now, back up often, back up off site. Get 15% off by using that code GEEK. And of course, Telestream and Wirecast produce live webcasts on your Mac or your PC as you go. Go over to Geekazine.com and click on the link for more. And then Stitcher. Go over to Stitcher.com/geek and you could win yourself $100 just by downloading the Stitcher app. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Jeffrey Powers, and welcome to episode 190, technically one reboot, blah, 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 of Geek Smack. I am Jeffrey Powers, your host over at www.geekazine.com. How you doing? Are you having a great weekend? Are you having a great week? I'm having a great week, and I've got a brand new show. As you can see, I've got some configuration problems to figure out and work out and figure out and try out and bring up and bring down so we can smack you some geek. We've got some news articles, we've got some fun, and a lot more to it. We're going to get into it right now. Now, as I'm starting this new version of the show, I'm doing a lot more stuff. Of course, the studio is getting a little bit more of an upgrade. We've got a green screen, more green screenish than the last green screen to go up there so I can do more seamless stuff. Before I've had to do a lot of adjusting to that. And of course, we're adjusting the lights. It might be a little bit harsh right now, but I'm working on different lighting situations, so we'll get that going. So if you have any questions, feel free to get me over at Geekazine, over on Twitter. That's at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. And Geek 608-205-4378 is the phone number. Now, if you watch the Geekazine Weekly podcast, we're not straying too much from the format, except now you're down here in the Geek Bar as opposed to in front of the computer. I'm gonna get your news a little bit faster, a little bit quicker, and then we're gonna get you out on your way. And we're gonna do it in half the time that we did it before, and still give you all the great content there. Of course, our sponsors have stayed the same. We still have Mosey.com. Get yourself back up your hard drive off-site onto the cloud, as the big word is, for 50 and get 15% off by using that code GEEK. It's only like $5.29 a month per computer. So back up now, back up often, back up off-site with Mosey. And then, of course, Wirecast and Telestream makes all this possible, the switching back and forth, up and down and all around. And then, of course, Stitcher. Go over to Stitcher.com/geek. You can win yourself $100 by just downloading an application. Download the application for Stitcher, and of course you could win up to $100. So good luck on all of that, and that's all. And of course, go over to the store and check out all the Geekazine T-shirts and all the cool stuff that I have over on Geekazine. All right, we got a 2-camera shoot. This is the second camera down here. It looks a little bit odd, yeah, I know, but this is where I'm going to be doing my thought-provoking parts. Anyway. As you can see, still need a little bit of positioning, still need a little bit of ideas, where I'm going to go with this, how big my eyes are going to get like this, and so on and so forth. But we'll try and get you the best show possible as we continue to go. And, of course, we've got new segments coming on the Geekazine show. So, Geek Smack, that's the name of the show. So, stick around. If you have any ideas, feel free to get me up on Twitter and go from there. So, in the meantime, let's get into your news, because that's what you're here for. You're ready for the tech news. And that's the first part, is the tech news. And it goes a little something like this.
Tech Smack.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's get into your tech smack as quick as we can. We're going to start over on ZDNet. Google takes down 93,000 scam ads. They revealed, took out what are called linking scam sites. So basically, if you get these stupid little things like you need virus scan and stuff like that, Google's counteracting, is that a word? Counteracting? That's a new word for me. Counteracting the everything like that. So if you get different things, and they take them off of AdWords, so they don't show up in the search, and of course, and they do a lot of blocking of the different sites. So if you do see something, it's very important, very, very important to report anything like that, because if you report something like that, then they know to take it down and go from there. So ZDNet.com for that. Actually, I was talking about ZDNet. I don't know if you guys know this, but I was on ZDTV back in about 11 years ago on a show called You Made It. And, of course, if you check geekazine.com, you'll see all that cool stuff over there. All right, continuing on with the news, Zynga. Zynga is planning to file for IPO. They're planning to do it about tomorrow. At least that's what TechCrunch is talking about. And they want to raise about $1.5 to $2 billion for a $20 billion valuation. Now, Zynga, if you don't know what Zynga is, it's the company that makes all those silly games for Facebook. So they've got a proven method here, and I think this is a great idea. And I think that Zynga is a great investment into a future. Now, I hope that and I'm pretty sure that, because I've never really played their games, I'm pretty sure that they have a plan if Facebook was to die tomorrow, that they could still get games. But games, people want to play Farmville. People want to play Mafia Wars. So I think that's going to be around. So that might be something to take a look at. You can check that out over at TechCrunch.com. All right, you might have heard about this, a group called LoseSec, LULZSEC. They decided, hey, we're done. We're not going to continue on with this. We don't think it's worth it. We're just moving on here. And then when they did, all of a sudden this new group shows up, and it's called, I believe, Operation Anti-Security, which they're the ones that tackled LoseSec. But then there's a new anti-sec team. And I'm guessing what's happening is the people from LoseSec didn't like the management, so they said, let's start our own club, and let's just call it a different name. So that's what's going on over in security. You think that hackers decided, we're done with this fight. We don't want to deal with this anymore. We don't want to fight with this anymore. We're done with this. We're done. And it's not the truth. The truth is that they're just probably reorganizing or going under new management because they didn't like the old management. Out with the old do, in with the new do. That's what I say. You can check more about this over on newyork.ibtimes.com is where we got the link. Of course, you can get the link at the show notes over at geekazine.com. If you go over to geekazine.com, you'll be able to subscribe to all the show notes. And, of course, I'm writing an ebook on actually how I'm doing all this video recording and stuff like that. You can go over there and check that out and find out a little bit more about how Geekazine is created and runs from there. All right, let's move on here. We'll go over to Bloomberg Business. Microsoft is releasing the web-based Office. Steve Ballmer came out and said, hey, we've got the web-based Office here. We're gonna fight you, Google, to the death. Come on, put them up. Anyway, Office 2010, of course, is now in the cloud. Happy cloud. I don't know. It's called the Office 365 Suite. It's available right now in 40 different markets. So if you're if you're not in the United States, you might want to check on that, see if you are one of the markets that you can do. It is there's a small cost to it, $6 a month for apps and Exchange email software. An additional $12 a month, you can get a full version of Office. So that's pretty cool if you want a little bit more than just Google Apps. And I don't know, would you go with Microsoft or would you go with Google? I know that there's a lot of people that have set up and they've run their own Microsoft Exchange servers in their IT industries. The idea is to get them off of there, especially if you're like a 3-4 person shop. Do you really need Exchange server for a 3-4 person shop? I don't know. You make the call, be the judge, and you let me know over at Geekazine. Twitter me at Geekazine. That's the tweet. At Geekazine. right, let's move on. Yeah, I think I just had the wrong screen there. So businessweek.com for that information. I hope you like the sound. I'm gonna have to do some little bit of tooling here, but we'll get there and eventually. So, and now it's time for a rumor. And there was some music here. I don't know what happened with the music. I must have put up the wrong one here. But anyway, let's take a look at some of the rumors. The biggest rumor is about the iPhone 5. iPhone 5 coming in quarter 3, quarter 4, or something like that. But a lot of people are saying, hey, there's going to be multiple versions of iPhone, including one that's in a prepaid section. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I don't know if you know Apple very well. And I want to go with this camera. I don't know if you know Apple very well, but I've never worked for Apple, and I don't know what Steve Jobs is thinking. I don't know what any of the executive team is thinking. But I can tell you one thing. For the last 12 to 15 years, ever since they got rid of all the OEM people and decided to make the hardware in-house, decided to make the software in-house, and cut out the middleman, they've always gone forward. They've never gone backwards in time. They've never gone backwards on anything. You know, when iPhone 4 came out, there was iPhone 3GS. And you could still get iPhone 3GS, but there was never going to be a smaller version. There was never going to be a mini iPhone. There was never going to be a clamshell iPhone. There was just going to be the next greatest and latest thing. So the way I see it is I bet you the 3GS will become the prepaid one. It's technically already. I mean, you can go buy it for $49 over at AT&T. So why not shuttle it over to a company that basically does all that cool stuff in prepaid land? So I don't see more than one version of iPhone except for an older version. So you'll have iPhone 5 with 4G support, maybe. You'll have iPhone 4, which is what's after iPhone 3GS. And then the 3GS, which will be part of your prepaid, maybe even a T-Mobile or a Sprint account if everything's GSM and CDMA. That's the other word there. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that they're going to make more than one version of the iPhone? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine. And that's the rumor of the day. Of course, if you go over to guardian.co.uk, you can find out all about that rumor and determine to yourself if it's true or not. Let's move on. Let's go over to techcrunch.com, answers.com. I think they got the answer here, ladies and gentlemen. And the answer is, hey, let's get rid of everybody. Everybody's gone. Gone. We're getting rid of our CEO. Of course, a company bought answers.com, acquired for $127 million in cash. It's AFCV Holdings. Which works with Summit Partners, and they're pretty much getting rid of all of their staff. There's only a few people that are, I believe, are still going to be there. CEO Bob Roshenshine and CTO Jeff Schneiderman gone. 25 employees in the United States. They don't know if they've got a pink slip just yet, but they are doing some definite reorganizing over there. Pretty interesting stuff. My take on it is this. Sometimes you gotta figure out what you're gonna do and reorganize that way, and then go from there. Because if you don't reorganize, if you've got a failing business and you say, yeah, we're just gonna ride it out and maybe they'll come back, you're kidding yourself. So that's what Answers.com did, and they sold it. And the new owners basically said, hey, we don't like this. We want to start over. We're gonna start anew. So that's what they're doing. And we're pretty interesting to see what's going to happen. You can check that out over at TechCrunch.com for more information. We're going to stick on TechCrunch. Oh, no, that's the same article. We've already found our first glitch of the day. But anyway, let's move on here. It looks like a web page did not load here. We're going to go over to GottaBeMobile.com. Of course, you know that I was out at HP Discover. You know I talked about the WebOS, the touchpad, the new tablet by HP. And, of course, thank you to everybody that watched that video because we've gotten major amounts of views. Lots of comments. Thanks a lot for doing that. But they found some working demos out at Best Buys and out at Walmart's. And, of course, the launch is on July 1st. That's this weekend. Yeah, June passed by so fast. Crazy. Anyway, the new launch, the new idea. the touchpad. I don't know if I'm going to be getting one. I'm definitely going to go be checking one out once it comes out there. Best Buy just retooled, at least our Best Buy just retooled a whole bunch of their stores, our East Side and our West Side store, to look a lot different. So I'm very interested to see if they're planning something and going from there. So, but you can check all that out over at gottabemobile.com. A couple more articles for you, and then we're going to send you over to the geek side. So hold on tight if you are just kind of ready to go on the tech. If you're an HTC fan and you just bought an HTC, I am sorry. You might want to go get a new one. HTC has decided, hey, you know, we're going to make these phones. These phones are going to be for people, and these people want to be able to take pictures with their phone. I mean, how many of you out there have bought a phone, out there have bought a phone, but doesn't have a camera on it, or maybe even you knock the camera out, put a little piece of tape on it or something like that. I don't know. I know that if I want a camera nowadays, or if I want a phone nowadays, I want a camera on that phone. It might not be my main camera, but I definitely want an option if I'm out in the wild and I don't have my regular cameras with me and I want to take a picture of something. And the resolution's there, so why not? So I still have a 3GS, and ladies and gentlemen, it works fine for me, and I get a lot of great shots because of that. And you can check out all the pictures on geekazine.com, including that really interesting one that I took flying out of Chicago last week. Anyway, getting back to betanews.com, they're going to be putting in new cameras here. The newer cameras, let's switch to cameras, speaking of which, they're going to have 8-megapixel sensors as opposed to iPhone's 5. So they want to counter what iPhone is doing by having a better megapixel camera in there. Whether it takes better pictures or not is yet to be seen. If they're going to have an LED light in there, that's hopefully. And of course, what's going to happen with iPhone 5? Is iPhone 5 going to have a 10-megapixel camera in there? Are you going to get rid of your cameras, your DSLRs, your regular point-and-shoot cameras for your phones? Let me know. Twitter me over, this is now the universal term for Twitter, over for Geekazine at least, over at Geekazine. All right, last part of part one, the tech part, and we're going to get you over on the geek side and go from there. This is over on Engadget.com, and check this out. It's called TopCon IPS2, and what it is a 360 panoramic view with full detail. Full detail. So it's going to tell you if there's a pothole in the road, it's going to show you that pothole, and it's going to show you how deep it is. It's going to show you how you have to worry about it. I'm assuming that's going to, like Google Maps, that data is going to be outdated really quick. But we've seen 3D and virtual reality mapping at CES. And it's the new future of mapping. I'm really excited about this. This was shown at last week's 3D and Virtual Reality Expo in Tokyo. But nowadays, when you start to map, when you start to look for where you need to go, what you need to do, you'll be able to get a full view. And I love doing that. I love going, if I need to find out a place where I'm going to be going, like when I went to New York, I did that as a perfect example. I went to the hotel I was staying at and the Pennsylvania, and I through Google Maps, and I went around. I walked around virtually around the streets to see what was around me. I saw the Borders bookstore across the street. I saw the B&H down the street. I saw where I could go get food. I knew how many blocks I was away from Times Square, so on and so forth. I even walked the route to Javits that I ended up walking at Blog World. So it's amazing. I can't wait for a virtual version of this, 3D virtual, so I can actually really get into it and see what's going on, see where all the hot dog carts are, and see where all the traffic jams are and stuff like that. So, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's over on Engadget.com. And yes, that does bring us to the end of part one. It's a little bit fast, furious, and happy. And of course, I hope you really enjoy it. This is the first part. We're going to get you into the second part of the Geek Smack. I'm almost ready to stop saying Geekazine Weekly Podcast, but Geek Smack over at www.geekazine.com or thegeeksmack.com is the new website. We'll get you right there to the podcast. Got a new segment over on Geek Smack. It's called Into the Cloud. And ladies and gentlemen, here's how it goes. you always wonder, what is this cloud thing? Everybody keeps saying cloud this, cloud that, cloud the other thing. We're going to be talking about Paul McCartney in the cloud. We're going to be talking about pictures of clouds, faces of clouds, and so on and so forth. Well, I got a new segment for you. It's called Jeff Puts Something into the Cloud, and it goes like this.
Jeff put something into the cloud. Jeff put something into the cloud.
And that was Jeff Puts Something into the Cloud. Sorry about that. I got some echo here. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Welcome back to the Geek Smack. Let me show you that. This is the only time you're going to see this intro, so I'm going to do this again because I also have to load up some of the other stuff. So here it goes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to Geek Smack. My name is Jeffrey Powers, your host, and we are now on the second half of Geek Smack, the Geek Smack of Geek Smack. And it goes a little something like this.
Geek Smack.
All right, as we say, we talk about the tech, now we're going to talk about the geek side. A little bit more lighthearted stuff so you can understand what's going on in these podcasts. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching the new version, the revamp, the retool, the whatever of Geek Smack. We're going to do a lot more. Of course, you saw the Jeff Puts Something into the Cloud thing. We're going to do some more little vignettes, some little more segments. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. We're going to talk about cool stuff and cool geek. Because there was one thing that somebody came out with an article this week, and it said, what is geek? Is geek a word that's basically been muddled through the mud and now everybody's a geek? Well, my answer is this. A geek is somebody, you have geeks, you have nerds, and you have dorks. A geek is somebody who has a good knowledge of something and can help you out. Like, for instance, I'm a podcast geek. I know about podcasting. I know what I need to do to podcast, and so I podcast. I'm a tech geek because I can go through and I can take care of things if there's problems in technology. Now, a dork is a person who kind of extrudes that a little bit more. So, like, for instance, I'd be a dork by wearing shirts like this. I'm a Star Wars dork. Not a Star Wars geek, a Star Wars dork, because I show it as I go. Now, a nerd is somebody who's completely consumed with who they are, what they do. So if you're a nerd, you're a person that does all this tech, and you go out and you talk tech, and you talk tech with your tech friends, and then when you try to socialize on something else like movies or music or something like that, have no idea. So remember, a geek is somebody who's fascinated on a subject. A dork is somebody who's fascinated on a subject, willing to show it, and not really care what people think. And then a nerd is somebody who's pretty much encompassed in that to the point where they're encompassed in that. So hopefully that'll be a good clarification on what these three terms, and I wasn't expecting to talk about that, but I wanted to let you know that's what I think a geek is. And that's why we did some changes to Geekazine, Geek Smack, and get that going. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's get into your Geek Smack because we got a lot of stuff. But we're going to start with the question of the week. And the question of the week is this. Let's get into the question of the week thing here. All right. Question of the week. What do you think of Geek Smack? Just go over to geekazine.com and you'll see the link, and you just say, hey, I like it. No, I don't like it. I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I want to watch some more. So that's the question of the week. That was it. Nothing more. Just that. So that's it. Yeah, that's it. All right, let's get into your Geek Smack. I think I already played the Geek Smack intro, so we won't do that twice. We're going to start over on Chip Check, and a great site, great site. I was actually in Detroit. I was talking with Chip Check herself, Helena, and how you doing, Helena? And we had a lot of fun over at Ford Trends. So go over to chipcheck.com. Great site. But look up in the sky. There's a bird, there's a plane, there's a Lego Superman. Yeah, you can get different superheroes out of Legos, comic book superheroes. It's not if you want to build one, you can do so. If you're a big Lego freak, this guy right here has turned many different brick sculptures: Superman, Green Lantern, and so his name was Savoya, I believe it was. I'm just scanning through this article really quick. But of course, if you want to read more about it, if you want to get yourself a Superman Lego, well, you're going to have to get a whole bunch of blue bricks, a whole bunch of red bricks, a whole bunch of black bricks and skin-colored bricks, and do some bricking the Superman, bricking the Green Lantern. Anyway, that's over at chipcheck.com, so check that out. Great site once again. Thanks a lot for everybody that has submitted in the past. And you can always submit an article to Geekazine. All you have to do is go over to Twitter, go to @Geekazine, and follow me and say, hey, did you see this article? Maybe you should take a look at this article. All right, let's move on here. We're going over to connectedmichigan.com. Of course, there's many different websites that are talking about this today. What this is the court has shot down the idea that kids cannot buy violent video games, which is pretty interesting. Minors will be allowed to buy violent video games after the California State Supreme Court shot everything down from purchasing. So they say it's the parents' job to make that call, to tell the kids, hey, you can't do this. You cannot get yourself whatever the game is, bloody. Well, Duke Nukem's perfect example. Duke Nukem came out 2 weeks ago. There is blood, there's gore, there's violence, there's swearing, there's nudity, and there's a 3-headed Hydra monster with female. She's female, and she's got 2 heads and 3. Well, we won't talk about that because this is a safe and kid-friendly show. But my question to you is, parents, are you out there? Are you watching your kids in the games that they're buying, and are you concerned about what's out there? Let me know over at Geekazine. Twitter me at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. Go over to connectedmichigan.com to find out more on this. And of course, if you go over to show notes over at Geekazine, you'll find out more too. All right, let's move on. Speaking of games, we got a new writer over at Geekazine. His name's Arnar Mongoose. Yeah, I know, that's kind of a weird name, but, hey, what can you do? He's been writing some great articles on gaming, and he has to do it during the summer. I said, sure, why not? So he's doing Game Break on Team Fortress 2. Of course, Team Fortress 2 came out a couple years ago. I remember when Buana McCall talked about Team Fortress 2, and he said that, hey, Team Fortress 2 is now free. They were going to do it for a 2-week period, but now it's going to be free. You can go get it at whenever you want to over at store.steampowered.com. And so that's pretty cool. So and I could get it for my PC, and I could play for the PC if I wanted to. But I'm stuck on Angry Birds right now. I just can't get past level 13 on Angry Birds. So anyway, if you want to check out more on that, go over to geekazine.com. Let's move over to PlayFeed, which is one of Andrew Edwards' sites over at Gear Live. And they're talking about Star Wars Galaxies. Star Wars Galaxies is planning to shut down on December 15th. Sorry about that. Hold on. Something just fell down. LucasArts and Sony Online Entertainment announced that they're going to be shutting down Star Wars Galaxies on December 15th. They said it was a difficult decision, but they mutually agreed that at the end of 2011 is an appropriate time to shut it all down. Of course, as games go, as life goes, as a gamer geek, you you got cool stuff, and then cool stuff's there, and the cool stuff's gone. So, like Team Fortress 2, it went from a paid game to a free game, and now Star Wars Galaxies, and they're probably making way for a new type of game, a new type of opportunities out there for new items. But it's kind of sad. But we'll see. We'll see what happens if there's a way that maybe they'll talk with somebody and get somebody to port over Star Wars Galaxies to some other server or something like that. Maybe there's a way for archive.org to do something like, I don't know. What do you think? Do you still play this game? Let me know. The Star Wars Galaxies. Let me know over at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. Let's move on here. When I was over at HP Discover, we got to see Paul McCartney, which was great. I loved it. Well, Paul McCartney, one of the reasons why Paul McCartney was helping out by playing for HP Discover is because HP was cataloging all his media, his videos, his pictures, his audio files up into the cloud. It's pretty interesting. But he's got a whole vault down in his basement of everything, and we saw a part of it when we were at HP Discover. And I'm going to tell you, if we saw only 1/64 or 256th of what Paul McCartney has, which I understand is definitely that. We saw a very minute fraction of all the pictures, the video, the audio that he's got down there. We might get some new Beatles songs out of this. We might get, remastered basement sessions or something like that. It's very possible. But Paul McCartney is now putting it all in the cloud. It's going to take a while to get it all done. But Hewlett-Packard is going to be digitizing everything. Everything. So, and of course, they got the new website coming out there. So check that out. That, like I said, that was out when we were out at HP Discover. I wanted to share that moment with you. So go over to independent.ie to find out more information on that. Check this out. If you are a modder, you might want to take a look at this. This is called the 64-button shield. And what it is a series of buttons. I'll just play a little bit of it for you. I don't know if you can hear that or not. But basically he's got these arcade buttons, and he's got it all wired up, and it's showing you exactly how you do it, where you go, what chips you use, how you configure the board, so on and so forth, and then you can make your own 64-button shield. Excuse me. Anyway, so they're showing you how it's all done, how it all works, so you can check that out over at blog.makezine.com, blog.makezine.com. Of course, if you go to the show notes, you're going to find all that cool stuff, all the links in there. All right, got 3 more articles for you, and then we're going to send you on your merry way. We're going to smack you down and get you going. So, E3 happened a couple weeks ago. Actually, it was last week. Last week while I was in Detroit, yes, E3 happened, and they decided to pick game. And so, congratulations to BioShock. BioShock won from BioShock Infinite, won the best game of E3. So, pretty interesting stuff. If you've played it, let me know over at Geekazine if you're planning to play it. I'm gonna try and see how it plays. I'm gonna go over to friends in a few hours. Blah blah blah. Can't think here. I'm gonna go to friends over in a couple hours and try this out and go from there, because I don't have any game systems in my house, because those things are dangerous. They're dangerous. I'm telling you that right now. At least they're dangerous for me. I'd be sitting there forever doing that. Anyway, so you can check that out over at venturebeat.com. There's a lot of video out there from the United States, and there's a lot of video from Britain. There's a lot of video from Germany. There's a lot of video from Mexico, Spain, whatever. But can you find some cool stuff out there that's old and weird and stuff like that? Well, yeah, if you go over to boingboing.com, they're going to show you all these cool vintage 1960s British science fiction TV shows. Paul Star is one of them. They got some other stuff here, but just some interesting stuff. I look at this picture right here, Solar Nauts, And I'm thinking to myself, this can't be these can't be dolls. These look like real people, but are they? I don't know. You make the call. You let me know. Let's zoom in on it a second here. Do you think that they're puppets or muppets or dolls or anything like that? Let me know over at Twitter at Geekazine. At Geekazine is my Twitter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, last part, and we'll get you on your merry way. Check this out. These are sunglasses. Except these glasses are made of not made of, but, oh yeah, they are made of, but they're made from hair. It's a biodegradable pair of sunglasses made from human hair. They're created by Studio Swine's Azusa Murakama and Alexander Groves, and they were created to explore how the booming production of hair extensions can be expanded beyond the beauty industry. So, I don't know, to me, that makes it sound like that's not real hair, it's hair extensions turned into a pair of sunglasses. That's where I got confused, but would you buy yourself a pair of hair sunglasses? Let me know. Tweet me over at Geekazine, at Geekazine. Let's Think Magazine, take out the mag, put in a geek, and you got Geekazine right there. That's it. That brings us to the end of another episode number 190, or 1, however you want to call it, of Geek Smack. My name is Jeffrey Powers. What'd you think? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Go over to geekazine.com. Let me know. Of course, Twitter me at Geekazine, and let me know, geekazine@gmail.com, so on and so forth. So that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. So let me know what you think, and we will be back next week with another Geek Smack. I'm tired. We're gonna smack you out of here. So we'll catch you later. Of course, if you want to make these videos like that, all you have to do is go over to goanimate.com. Goanimate.com, and you'll find out a little bit more. Thanks for watching.